Hey, what's going on, guys? Coming at you with an updated deck profile that I actually haven't covered in a while, and today we're going to be profiling my Cubics. I actually decided to put this back together at my locals the other day and actually got first place. We beat out the mirror match round one, which was kind of crazy. Round two, we beat Shadal Dinosaurs, and round three, we were able to 2-0 Invoked Mech Knight. Didn't matter that he had established Deco Talker and 2 Macabre on board when you have Crimson Nova plus 2 Cubic Wave that just blow right the fuck through it. So we'll go ahead and get started with the deck profile. Cubic lineup's relatively standard, at least for how I like to play Cubics. Of course, we had the boss monster, the free Crimson Nova, your win condition. The free Duza, typically to dump Karma to search your Crimson Nova, but when you're going first, you'll dump Unification to be able to stall for a turn. Just a really good card in general. The free V-Jam, I've gone back and forth between 2 and 3 with my different builds, but I decided to bump this up to 3. Number one, because we play Allure Darkness to up our dark targets that we can actually dispose of for Allure Darkness. 2, because if you don't open Duza, this is like your only other, potential stall card going first. And 3, because of Cubic Karma's on-field effect, which actually, at least recently for me, has come up more than you think. Being able to dump all 3 V-Gems, even from hand and or deck, to boost your Crimson Nova by 2400. That's usually an OTK. So having an extra V-Gem in there to send off a Karma could be really clutch. Then we play one of each of the other Cubic names. The one Giragal, the one Dark Garnix, the one Vulcan Dragny, the one Blade Garudia, the one Enduria Doomvault, and the one Buster Gundil. I rarely ever summon these, but I like having one of each name because Crimson Nova does require 3 different names. So that's it for the Cubic monsters. Next, we had the 2 Summoner Monk. This is a card I've been back and forth on for a while as well. Back when Spirals were the dominant deck, and even when Zodiacs were dominant deck, and there were just a ton of hand traps floating around, I oftentimes would cut this card because it would just get ashed all the time, and it just wouldn't really do much for me. But since I'm playing Allure Darkness now, and since granted people still play Ash, but especially with the release of Call by the Grave and the Extreme Force Special Editions, not a lot of people main Ash right now. So Summoner Monk a lot of times can actually go off. On the local tournament, I actually was able to open with Monk going first, and was able to make a Baguska to stall for a turn, and then was able to OTK in the next turn. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, Monk's pretty good, for getting your dues out of the deck, for potentially getting a dead Cubic Karma out of your hand to get a search. Just a lot of, neat things that Summoner Monk can do. But I don't really want to play free, even though it is at free, because that can really clog. Then for the final monster, we have the 2 Radiant, my kaiju of choice, because of course it is a dark target for Allure. Spells, we of course have the triple Cubic Karma and the triple Cubic Wave, pretty standard there. Next, the free Foolish Burial Goods. Another card I've been back and forth between 2 and 3 because it is a once per turn card, but you just want to see Karma to get your search for Crimson Nova as quick as possible. So I think 3, at least for now, is the right number. Again, this kind of goes back to how not as many people are really playing Ash, or as many Ash right now, and not a lot of people are actually playing Droll right now. So I think Foolish Burial Goods is a pretty solid card right now. Then we have the 2 Allure Darkness. We have 10 total dark targets, so most of the time it's going to be live. Potentially can be Ash bait, but it just is here for that extra bit of consistency because you really need to open up that right type of hand to be able to do anything with this deck. The 2 Pot Desires, as much as people still argue about it to this day, it is a +1. You play so many free ofs in this deck to where unless you're really unlucky and banish all for your Crimson Nova, you're pretty well set. And then the 1 Upstart Goblin. Yes, you are giving your opponent 1,000 life points in an OTK deck, but this is a card that can turn itself into another cubic name that you need for your Nova. And a lot of times your OTKs are at least 9,000 anyway, so it ends up working out. The 2 Twin Twisters. Back row isn't really too much of a thing right now outside of the True Draco deck, so I'm not really that concerned with playing free in the main. It is another discard target for Karma along with Summoner Monk, so that's kind of neat. And then the 1 Dark Hole and 1 Raigeki for board wipes. You could actually consider playing Lightning Vortex as well, especially if you don't own Raigeki, since that can discard your Karma. But I just personally, like the, tried and true board wipes and Dark Hole and Raigeki that don't have a condition behind them. Then for the final main deck card, we have the free Unification. Really nice stall card for this deck. Most times will buy you at least a turn or two, especially if you loop them off of multiple Duzas to where you can buy yourself enough time to gain enough resources in your hand to be able to drop Crimson Nova and hopefully OTK your opponent, because that's what this deck likes to do. So that is the 40 card main deck. We'll go ahead and go off to the side. So starting off, we have the two Denko Sekka here for those set 5 decks, especially Paleo. Not as great against True Draco because they can just flip up their floodgates, but still a decent card to side in against them. And in general, it's a good card in Cubics because your only ever normal summon of the deck really is Duza, so it doesn't really conflict that much. Then we have the 2 other Kaiju names in Gameciel and Dizakiru, and then finally the 1 Kaiju Slumber. If you do own Evenly Matched, you could easily replace these for Evenly Matched, but I currently do not own them. I'm not a huge fan of them in this deck because you are giving up your battle phase, and granted you can get over a big board with it, and you can establish a Nova, but you're not OTKing your opponent that turn, and there are some decks that unfortunately can recover after an Evenly Match. It really just depends. So yeah, for now we have the 2 Kaijus in the Slumber. Works out pretty well going second. Next, we have the free Call by the Grave on the side. Really, as far as hand traps go, the only one you really have to worry about is like an effect failure on your Duza when you need that Karma Search, an Ash on your Karma or your Foolish Burial Goods, or like a Droll and Lockbird when you have one of those hands where you can search multiple cards to establish your combos. So Call by the Grave is a really good card, when you're siding, going second, when you think your opponent's going to have like a bunch of Ash Blossoms or Effect Failures or Droll and Lockbirds, just to be able to protect your combos and be able to go off with your plays. Next, when we're forced to go first, we do have the free Scapegoat. Was considering playing something like a Gamma or an Artifact Lancia, but Scapegoat just overall is one of, if not the best cards going first. Not only can it be here to stall you for a turn to then be able to OTK in the next turn, but it also can leverage you, of course, in the link plays, which is why the card's so busted right now, which can help get you more damage on board and can help you out certain cards on the board, especially with things like Ningirsu. And then we do side the Ferrotoon Twister in case we're going against a really backer heavy deck. It's just a good card. I don't play Cosmic Cyclone because, especially in the True Draco matchup, they are siding the Imperial Orders, so I don't really want to have a dead card against that deck if I, happen to top deck into it after it's been established, so that's why I personally don't play it. And then for the final side card, again, when we're forced to go first, we have the Free Day Barrier. It's just another one of those catch-all cards against Invoked, against Pendulum Editions, against even Rogue matchups like ABCs, where you flip this on them, and it's more likely than not going to end their turn, and it just buys you a turn to be able to set up your hand to try to OTK your opponent. So that's the side. Pretty extra, we are playing some links for the Scapegoat. We do have the 1 Link Spider. If I own a Link Karibo, I'd probably play a Link Karibo along with the Link Spider, because that's a kind of neat thing you can do with your GOAT tokens. But for now, just the 1 Link Spider. You can also play 2 if you want, but I just didn't really have a whole lot of room. The 1 Mrs. Radiant. You can make this with a couple Scapegoat tokens, and it potentially can help you go into your Ningirsu combos, or just be there as like a 1900 beater. The 1 Proxy Dragon, another thing that you can use to bridge to some of your combos like Deco Talker or the Ningirsu Ib combo. The 1 Underclock Taker, this is really good if you're able to establish Nova with it, for the fact that you can target the Nova and then make your opponent lose 3,000 attack points. Your opponent's monster lose 2,000 attack points, so that's basically like a direct attack with Nova, so that can really help you in getting your OTKs or getting over big monsters. The Ib and Ningirsu for, of course, the GOAT plus any other monster combo. The 1 Deco Talker, kind of a funny story with my game 2 against the Cubic Mirror. As I said, I was able to open Summoner Monk going first against him because he made me go first, and I was able to establish Baguska, and he just couldn't really do anything that turn. He didn't even play any monsters. So on my end phase, I had flipped my Scapegoat, and with the Baguska plus GOAT plus I think a Duza I had in hand, I was able to establish a Deco Talker plus an Ib, so that's, plus a Duza, who would use his secondary effect to gain 200 attack points for each different named monster you have engraved. And after all the link summons I did leading up to that point in the turn, he was all the way up to 3,000 attack points. So I had 3,000 plus 33 plus 1,800, which was exactly 8,100 damage for the OTK. So that was kind of cool. But Deco Talker generally is just a good card. The 1 Borlo Dragon, really, really good rank. Link 4. And the one Topologic, this is kind of neat with Crimson Nova, how you can actually summon Nova in a pointer under him, and then Topologic will blow everything up except for the Nova. Granted, your Nova can't attack that turn, but your Topologic can still go in for 3,000, and then your Nova would burn for 3,000 and end phase. So that's still 6,000 damage right there, which is really good. I don't play Skull Dread because this deck doesn't really have the ability to establish 4 monsters with different names on the board to make Skull Dread. But definitely, if I figured out a way to do it and I could afford Skull Dread right now, I definitely would. But yeah, for now, that's the Scapegoat lineup for Lynx. For rank 4s, we had 1 Dark Rebellion. Since I currently do not own Utopia Lightning, I traded that a while ago. But Dark Rebellion takes up 1 less space, and for the most part does the same thing. Makes itself big and gets over big beaters. The 1 Diamond Dyer, nice when you just need to pop a card and you want to clear your extra monster zone. The 1 Baguska, again, if you happen to open up that Summoner Monk going first like I did, just stall for a turn or 2. And the 1 Tornado Dragon, just a nice back row popper. And then we do play a couple rank 10s in case we're in that weird situation where we have multiple Novas on board, somehow did not OTK our opponent, and are somehow at 3,000 or less life points to where we can kill ourselves at the end of the turn if our Novas stay on board. So for that situation, we do have the 1 Super Dora and the 1 Gustav Max. So that is it for my updated deck profile, my Cubics. I do hope you guys enjoyed it. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you guys next time.